One of my favorite stories that really taught me something about truth was a story about Ignatius, who was the bishop of Antioch way back in the early days of Christianity. In fact, Ignatius, it is said, this is a legend, we don't know for sure that this is true, but in Mark chapter 9, when Jesus had a little child on his lap, a baby, and he said, whoever welcomes one of these in my name welcomes me, the legend is that that was Ignatius. Now, we don't know if that's true, but what we do know about Ignatius is that he was friends and an acquaintance with several of the actual apostles of Jesus Christ. And he became a follower of Jesus and was later named Bishop of Antioch. Well, as the first century was evolving into the second century, a new Roman emperor by the name of Trajan issued an order saying that people must bow down to the pagan gods or be executed. And so he happened to be traveling in the area called Antioch, and he heard about this guy Ignatius, who refused to offer sacrifices to the pagan gods. And he had him brought before him. He found him guilty of being a Christian, and he ordered him taken in chains to Rome, where he would be put to death in a violent way. He'd be torn apart by the wild beasts in the Colosseum for the entertainment of the crowds. Now, just pause right there and ask yourself, would not that be an incredibly clarifying moment in a person's life? I mean, if you were Ignatius, wouldn't you want to be absolutely sure of the bedrock of what you knew to be true before you allowed yourself to be put to death in this horrendous way for your faith? Well, that's true of Ignatius. In fact, he wrote 7 letters on this long journey back to Rome to be put to death. And as I read those letters, what struck me was how Ignatius would always drill down to that which he absolutely knew to be true. In fact, he said Jesus was really and truly born. In fact, he kept repeating those words, really and truly. He said Jesus was really and truly born. Jesus really and truly was baptized by John. He really and truly performed miracles. He was really and truly crucified. He said, not in appearance, not in imagination, not in deceit. He really was crucified. He really and truly was laid in the tomb of Joseph of Arimathea. And he really and truly, he said, rose from the dead. He said, these things really and truly happened. These aren't imaginations that, imaginary things that people came up with. This is not legend. It's not mythology. It's not make-believe. This stuff actually happened. And because it was true, because he knew for a fact that Jesus had returned from the dead, he knew someday he would too. And so he was willing to go to his death proclaiming that Jesus is the Son of God who proved it by returning from the dead. And as I encountered that story about Ignatius, what it reminded me of was the absolute bedrock importance of historical truth to Christianity. Christianity, unlike some other faiths, is not just a collection of nice teachings. It's not just some suggestions on how we can live a better life. Christianity is an historic religion. It is rooted in the historic reality of Jesus having entered into this world, made the outrageous claim that he's the Son of God, and then he proved it by his resurrection from the dead. And as I think about Ignatius, who himself personally knew the apostles of Jesus, knowing for a fact what actually had occurred in that first century, willing to go to his death as a result, I think, you know what? There is persuasive evidence today, the evidence of history, that Jesus claimed to be the Son of God and proved it by returning from the dead. Enough evidence to turn an atheist like me into someone who's a follower of Jesus Christ, as Ignatius was.